episode of Beyond the Dumbbells, your snarky source for all things nutrition, fitness, wellness, and lifestyle. From damaged libidos to a-holes at your local gym and everything in between.
It makes me laugh every time.
It makes me laugh every time, too.
So you said it's damaged libidos. Do people even pick up on the fact that being overweight and slothy impacts the sex drive? You might still actually have a little bit of mental desire to be sexy, but you're too lazy and you can't actually pull yourself together enough to want to do it.
I don't think people tie a lot of things to either what they weigh, body fat percentage, or what they eat. I honestly don't.
It's just because I'm tired. Well, your hormones are off because your life is off.
Yeah. But I also think that people they place too many things in what other people tell them. So like, for women with like their cycle every month, it's like, well, you're supposed to have a headache and cramps and do all these things. And it's like, well, have you ever looked at your diet around that time that maybe the sugar from all the chocolate you're scarfing is changing it? And I can absolutely say that, people, because I am a woman.
It's not your menstrual cycle that's giving you the headache. It's your crappy food.
It's interesting, but I do. Does one man ever say, you know, I've been struggling with getting in the mood, and oh wow, I never paid attention to the fact that I drink 12 beers a week. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that might have something to do with it. Your testosterone's in the toilet. Your wife has more testosterone than you do.
I wish I had more testosterone than you. I could lift like a hoss.
You are a hoss. So we went away this past weekend, and we went down and visited some other coaching environments.
Yep.
So we started, it was fitness related, and we just kind of exposed ourselves to some other influences. This is much different than anything we've done before, because the idea around this, it was more of, my takeaway was the ability to be unique in the fitness space.
Right.
And there's all kinds of coaching and there's all kinds of people surrounding how to be successful and what successful means. And the one thing that we never looked at with our business is I never thought about franchising it.
Right.
I never thought about creating something that somebody could or would want to franchise. And when you start looking at the gyms and the popularity of some fitness avenues, we're pretty rural. I mean, we're a dense population, but we're nowhere near like an inner city metropolitan area where you're going to have a whole lot of fitness options.
Oh, yeah.
So being down in Charlotte, and it was the first time I'd been down there in probably 20 years. And I always look at that place like it's metropolis. It's just it's a beautiful town.
Oh, it's amazing.
Everything's new. There's all kinds of building. It's a young community. So you got the 20 to 30 year olds. So it's a happening place. And you would think that big companies that knew better than you would know that there's a certain amount of overcrowding or overpopulation as far as fitness options. And what Charlotte looked like was people cannot pour in there enough.
Oh, it's crazy.
Big fat corporations don't see other gyms as, hey, it's already spoken for. There's already places for people to get fitness. And it was eye-opening, because the one thing that I noticed was that there was as many flavors of fitness as there is restaurants.
Oh, it's crazy.
And you know, you're not feeling like that kind of food, then you go to this kind of bar.
Yes.
You want a different kind of brewery, then you go to this kind of brewery. And that's a town that looks at it as if people are always in the mood for something different.
Yep.
And you and I had a short conversation about, because we're always trying to figure out what makes people tick and how can we position ourselves so that people are encouraged to pursue a healthy lifestyle based on what we offer.
Right.
And the reality is just some people aren't always going to be down with eating Chinese food every day.
Correct.
So they're going to want to look out into different areas and branch out into different types of discipline. And where we initially thought, well, people are ultimately, they want a smaller waistline.
Right.
That's not the case. I mean, I don't remember if we talked about this on the show or not, but the number of people that we helped lose a significant amount of weight last year, so 2017, 18, and heading into 19, our full emphasis was the only way we can impact our community is if we impact their health.
Right.
You know, having a place for somebody to grab a dumbbell doesn't create a healthier community. So we went raw and went right to the numbers. Go get your physicals, go get your numbers, get your digits, and stare your current fitness in the face and be honest with yourself. Now with what's going on, because with at-home options like the mirror, which is the new, you face a mirror. It's this thing you put on your
So
wall.
wild.
It's awesome. You have a virtual trainer.
Yeah.
And then you've got Peloton, which is a virtual trainer.
Yeah.
You've got the garage gym, which you just follow CrossFit HQ or you follow some other online programming.
Exactly.
So the ability to get to fitness has branched well beyond Richard Simmons and the VHS
Oh, yeah.
tape.
Which is so funny because I still know people that are using those. So they haven't even invested they
time
haven't
to
invested
level up.
$1 more into their fitness because they have found something that they're still sticking. I use a VCR. They're still sticking in their VCR.
They got their money's worth.
I need to go find my share video.
I think it's packed up somewhere. So there's so much eye-opening as I get older and I start looking at trying to anticipate what people need.
Right.
It's very funny because even people that have lost a significant amount of weight, recognizing they're not built for the journey of going the distance with that. That's just the cold reality. People are like, I will bust my hump to lose 10 pounds, but I'll be damned if I'm going to put 6 months of this behavior in. It's just not there.
Oh, yeah.
For the majority of people.
Yes.
The ones that finally have that awakening or aha moment where they're like, I am sick of my pants not fitting.
Yeah.
I'm tired of, I won't have sex with the lights on anymore because
Right.
I don't. And that's touchy because if you want to be there for that person, but they can't be there for themselves beyond a 6-week window, are they lost? Is there any hope for that person?
Right.
Do they need more in-home? Do they need more personal coaching and accountability? Do they need a fitness butler? I mean,
think-
what the hell are they missing in their life?
I think it's such a really a touchy subject and so personal because it's you said it the best. Somebody who loves you, whether it's, your best friend, your spouse, if they're a different person, or, just a really good friend or whatever. They want you, I would hope so, to just feel amazing and watch you be proud of yourself. And I think when you take something like inside of a household, it's hard because, that I love ice cream. But I think the difference is you don't bring it home. So I love it. You're never, if we were out and I was like, oh my gosh, I've just got to get an ice cream cone, I doubt that you would say to me, are you sure that's not going to interfere with your goals? You might just say, you know what, you never do it.
Depends on the mood I'm in.
Yeah, that does depend on the mood you're in. But you're never going to bring home a half gallon of chocolate peanut butter ice cream. You wouldn't set me up that way. And
Correct.
I think a lot of people kind of twist it where people would say, oh, does Brian not love you enough? Is that why he's not bringing home ice cream? And it's like, no, he does love me enough to
not bring it home.
To watch how hard I work and have watched the tears when I'm unhappy with myself to not do that.
If you would continually bring home things that I couldn't resist or maintain control over eating, yeah, I'd start getting upset about it.
Exactly. And I think it's cool, like with you, we just had somebody drop you off some delicious looking cookies. But you know what my favorite part was? Small bag.
They know.
She could have brought you 12. But instead it was a small bag that's like, you know what? I like you enough to bring you something that I know you're going to enjoy, but I also respect you enough that I'm not going to set you up for failure.
A pan of treats.
I wouldn't have minded a pan of those.
I'm sure. So, knowing that there's this broad space and this broad market for individual fitness.
Yes.
And we have influences in our life that have kind of suggested that the model of training people is taking a shift into a non-gym environment. And the idea is, hey, people don't want to be bothered driving to a gym anymore.
Right.
You're not going to be able to be, you won't have the ability to be influential enough in a physical gym space. So you need to start looking at working solely on the emotional piece,
Right.
Kind of take people's mind through the process and be their accountability and their coach. But now that we came from a place like Charlotte, and
Gosh, it's crazy.
I'm still kind of in shock that there's so much room for people and there's still not enough service delivered.
Yes.
So the question is it an age thing? Because you've got the 20 to 30 year olds that they are still so well, they're still on the hook looking for a mate, so they're absolutely going out. And maybe that serves more to who the at-home people are driven towards. I mean, obviously money's going to be an influencer, time's going to be an influencer, but I also think you're going to get to a level where you just don't give a shit anymore enough about the way you look. It's just not a priority once you're married for most people.
I think it's for some, and I've said this forever. I think that a lot of, I can speak from a woman's point of view because I am one. I think a lot of women tend to put themselves last. So it's like, if my kids need to get to practice or I need to do something, it's like, well, I'll squeeze in my, P90X when I get home, and then something else happens. So I think a lot of it is we've always said this, be honest with yourself. And if you're not happy where you are physically, make the change, but also allow yourself the freedom to take 60 minutes a day, if that's what you need, to go and do your fitness. And however you need to make that happen, if you don't have the support, that's a problem. But if you do have the support to do it and it's laziness, try to figure out why.
If you are putting things off for the end of the day, like we had talked about also on other shows, that for me to get the time in that I need to have the Brian time,
right,
it's got to be at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, so I dedicate my time super early so that the rest of the day I can just turn the switch on for everything and everybody else. But if there's an opportunity for you to be greater, and you can't do it at home, because a lot of the people that do come into come to Raise the Bar, that have the home set up.
Yep.
They have Pelotons in the house. They've got the dope home gym. They do, fitness on demand.
Yep.
They have these options, and there's always a point where, and it's almost like relationship hopping. So you're in a relationship for a period of years, and you're like, oh, if this person would only be like this, my life would be so much better. So you're a dirtbag. You go pursue somebody that has that.
Right.
And while you're with them, you realize there's something else that's missing, or there's something that the last opportunity gave you that this one doesn't. And people, I think, look at fitness the same way. Oh, if only my coach was more on my ass. Oh, if my coach would only leave me alone a little bit.
Yes.
I want to be a specialist in this movement. And I just want the convenience of rolling out of bed, not fixing my hair.
Yes.
But after a period of time, that stuff falls apart. And there's always a spot where they recognize they made a decision that's not serving them as well.
Yep.
So then they fall backslide. Then after a while, they pursue that other option or alternative fitness avenue.
I think the big trend that I saw in Charlotte that I thought was pretty awesome is the number of different types of fitness that are even in the same building. And unlike where we are, where it's this really strange area where it seems like people are competing for the same people. Like you almost just trade the same dozen people, and when a cheaper option comes into town, that's where they go. Charlotte was cool because in one of the places we were in, there were 2 completely different styles of training that literally used the same front door to go into.
Under the same roof,
Under the same roof. And it was like just an agreement that's like, I am not going to actively pursue your people to try to get them to leave their current situation. However, do you have an issue if I offer them a 10 class pack? Or so they've been able to, because it's, of course, fitness, you're competitive no matter what you do. And it's you're competing for the time and the money of your clients. But how they did it was so beautiful. It was even like the color scheme goes across, and they
joined.
It was so, oh my gosh. I would love to look down and see a whole row of everything stemming from what we do down to Zumba, and to know that our industry is impacting people not in an ugly way.
It's not. I think that's part of that realization that is coming from this weekend. Is it's not a brand. I don't want to say brand. It's not a particular discipline of fitness. It's fitness as an industry.
Yes.
And a lot of fitness owners get wrapped up in the idea, especially CrossFit.
Yeah.
So if you end up in this mindset where it's, well, if you're not doing CrossFit, you're not elite fitness.
Exactly.
And in reality, over a period of time, the timeline hits and people are going to look for a change somewhere.
Yes.
The CrossFit's been around since 2000. 6, 7-ish. You got some thin populations that are still in the mix with that.
Oh, yeah.
But as a whole, I know more people that have left CrossFit, been injured by CrossFit, and stepped out looking for that next flavor of fitness.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want to stay in the industry, and they're going out and their needs are being met by a different service type.
Exactly.
And I would have started there's so much that you and I have grown over the past 10 years since we started doing fitness professionally, where we thought people would be and what we were going to put in front of them to say, this is where people are going to hook onto, because we create an environment that's easy to follow, fast results, full life cycle service. And you find out that there's every piece of the population only has a small percentage that's going to want that.
Yep.
And I think most people are happy just bitching about not being healthy versus pursuing health. Yep. We meet more people that it's 1 in 3, dude.
Exactly.
1 in 3 are, they need help.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything about it.
Exactly. And I don't know. And I think it's very funny. A lot of the people that we are blessed enough to have in our lives say things like, if you really want to do something, suddenly you have the time. And if you really want something, suddenly you have the money.
Oh, yeah.
But fitness is one of those areas, and we can easily speak to it because we've done it for so long. It's the first pot of money that goes, yet it's really one of the most important.
You get the greatest return. The problem is the return comes over time.
Right.
It's like a treasury bond. I mean, you got to wait till the thing matures before you really get the full benefit of what you're doing.
Exactly.
And something we heard this weekend is people were talking about price anchors, and people
Yes.
are like, "Oh, fitness and health. Okay, that category in my mind is $9 Planet Fitness."
Exactly.
And this was pretty remarkable because you got the people that do the Planet Fitness thing, and the $10 budget per month is like,
Yes.
I get my fitness for $10.
Yep.
And when they hear something like Gold's Gym, and Gold's is like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to $39 a week, and this is or a month, and this is for a contract.
Yeah.
Oh my, I don't know about this, but then those people get in there, and that becomes their budget.
Yes.
And it goes all the way up into the boutique micro gym space where we
Yes.
are, where it's up to $200 and beyond a month.
Yes.
And the difference is, Planet Fitness is going to take all their proceeds and serve you pizza and Jolly Ranchers and everything else in the gym.
It's an actual fact. It's not even us being
Gold's, the model
stupid.
is you're going to wear Beats headphones, grunt, scream, drop.
Yep.
And that's the model, but no one's talking to you.
Yep.
And then you start evolving up the chain, and you start recognizing that the interaction, follow through, questions, and to be able to be taken care of at a different level,
Yeah.
that goes with the cost factor. It's not that there's a dumbbell in Planet Fitness, there's a dumbbell in Gold's, and there's a dumbbell in the boutique gym
Exactly.
space. And all dumbbells are created equally, so ergo, all services are created equally.
Right.
And people's price anchor, they're like, $200 a month, my car's only $300.
Exactly.
That car in 5 years is going to be dead, broke, gone, traded in.
Mm-hmm.
But in 5 years, you could have added another decade to your life.
Yep.
The car's going to have limits to your health.
Well, what I think is very interesting with the car example is as soon as you go out and buy a new car, as soon as the next generation comes out, your car's old.
It's old.
And you want what the next thing has. So if you look at fitness, if you are somewhere that's working for you, do you really want to move on to something that's prettier, shorter in time when you're used to a longer duration that you genuinely love? Do you want to move on from, like you said, CrossFit and go to somewhere that doesn't have it if you still love CrossFit?
It depends on what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And here's something people are very happy and content being able to check the box. They feel good about themselves.
Definitely.
And because I did this morning, I know I can eat this guilt-free.
Right.
Not true, by the way. I mean, it's never that cut and dry.
No.
Every day.
I wish it was.
But when you start, Beachbody pulled this shit for a long time. And when we first started, because we were plugged in, not just as consumers, but we got into the MLM business
Yeah.
side of that thing in 2010-ish. And when we started seeing that it's like, oh my gosh, P90X, this thing's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And then when that thing started running its course and Beachbody wanted to make more money, they came out with something else.
Right.
And then each trainer within the organization came out with a different product, and every product was
Yeah.
slightly different than the last one because people get bored.
Yes.
And it went all the way down from Tony Horton's shtick, which was 12 weeks, up to 90 minutes a day. balls out crazy fitness. And in 2009, 2010, that's not the direction everybody was going.
No.
Everyone was like 30 minutes, get in and get out.
Yeah.
And it went to this 90-minute thing, and the transformations that went with Tony Horton's program, it had longer lasting benefits because it was rooted in strength training.
Exactly.
Versus like Insanity, which is another product of theirs, where you ended up with bad knees, bad joints, and bad ankles.
Right.
So you could see that the longevity of the product only lasted so long. Mm-hmm. But Beachbody figured out, if I don't produce something new every time, people are going to find their way back to the gyms.
Definitely.
So I have to keep them entertained and let them know that, hey, now we've rediscovered what's really going to work. So it went from 90 days and up to 90 minutes a day down to 30 minutes for 30 days and 20 minutes every other day. And it got ridiculous because I was like, you guys, you're not even holding true to your own self.
Exactly.
That year over year, you know what works and you're walking away from it.
I think what's interesting in most of the conversations I've had, and most of the people that I have kind of followed behind the scenes without them knowing I followed them, either through, friends or just me kind of paying attention, you can't ever do less than what you're currently doing the older you get. So I'll know,
caveat this slightly.
Yeah.
It's got to be twice as intense.
Exactly, but if
it's got to be a trade-off of one direction or the other.
But I don't mean like less, like you can't go from working 60 minutes to 50. Yeah. I mean, if you, right now, I do our boot camp program, mm-hmm. and it kicks my butt because as I get older and the weight is harder for me to maintain or lose, I do have to, and if you know me at all, I'm not a heavy lifter, so I have to find the intensity in another way. But what I'd never do is go in and say, I think I'm going to do 20 minutes of this 60 minutes, and I know that in 30 days I'm going to look better than I do.
Nope.
It isn't the way that it works. When you're used to your heart rate being, above average for 20 minutes of your 60-minute workout or 30 minutes, and then you think, I really only have to push for 5 now, you're not. I think you may think your results are the same or improving because you tried something different. But if you actually tracked your progress, I've never seen anybody who I have personally followed or stayed in touch with that has gotten better.
By doing less.
Of
course not. And this is part of the part of the conundrum with moving into that space where we're just online coaches.
Right.
And we're navigating people through the nutritional healthy choice, accountability, do your work, do your thing.
Yep.
Even if you're training on your own, the level of intensity can't be matched as it is once you got someone face to face.
No.
And if your levels of conditioning can be lost quickly, the body's always going to revert back to a very deconditioned baseline. That's just the way we're designed to die. So if you're not active in pushing and driving, mm-hmm. Now the key benefits to a healthy lifestyle, and it's strength training.
Yep. Number one.
And you've got to balance the meal plan and nutrition, mm-hmm. and then you have some endurance cardio work.
Definitely.
Because there are multiple systems within the body that have to be entertained to maintain a level of conditioning that's going to carry you through the older age. You can eat well, lose weight, do nothing else. Absolutely. We'll shrink your waistline.
Certainly.
You're going to look good, but that will do nothing for your bone density.
Yep.
It's not going to do anything to strengthen your all your primary functions and movements so that you can pick up groceries and you can drag your kids around. Eating right alone doesn't make you competent to do those other things in life.
Right.
And when people lose that style of conditioning because they've reduced their output, they reduce their output, their torque, mm-hmm. their agility, they don't work on the key things anymore. There's not a whole lot of place to where you can go and condition yourself better.
Correct.
Trees get bigger and stronger every year.
Yep.
Okay, so the rings on a tree, it's kind of like your training years.
Mm-hmm.
The more you train and the stronger you get, the more resolved and resilient your body becomes, like a big oak. Mm-hmm. And you've now got this big thing that over time it's huge and massive and strong. And your body's kind of the same way, whereas if you do everything right, you'll get stronger and build bigger, and you should always be at a high level. Yep. You don't have to be crushing PRs or doing ridiculous things to be that tree.
No, not at all.
I don't know where the tree analogy came from.
I like it. We can hardly even see a tree from where we're sitting right now.
At least it's not a car. At least I'm not talking about a car.
Usually there will, at some point, because you already did the car earlier in the show, I think you'll bring it back.
I always default to hot rods.
Well, that's you. I think that you may have been a hot rod,
I'm pretty close.
but I think a lot of it, as with everything that we ever talk about, is really just being honest. And if it's something that's important to you with fitness wise, you have a fitness wallet. And if you would rather go out and eat at an expensive restaurant that is serving garbage versus taking that money, one dinner, by the way, can be as much as a gym membership for a month.
Yep.
So if you'd rather take it, then be honest. But you can't, it's almost unjust, for lack of a better word, to stand in front of the mirror or get on the scale and be like, ugh, I'm disgusted. I'm so disappointed with myself, but I'm going to take my $200 again next month and I'm going to go out to a nice dinner.
And that's if you do one dinner, because we were
Right.
eating out. We were hitting a local sushi place, and we started recognizing it was just in passerby that we were like, we eat 4 lunches a month.
A month.
And it's enough money to pay for two $200 gym memberships.
Exactly.
That gets stupid. And this was something that was supposed to be like an end of week treat. This was something that it's a
Exactly.
healthy option for us. It fits our macros and our target proteins and what we're trying to do.
And it was once a week.
It's once a week.
Right.
It's a 40-minute event.
Yes.
And when we talk about price anchor, and when people say, I have a budget for this and it matches this,
Yes.
and you had talked about your fitness wallet.
Yeah.
If you look at where you are in your life, and this is where it gets slimy as a gym person, where someone comes up and they say, they're holding a $1,000 iPhone in their hand and they've got their nails all did. And,
Yes.
you can tell that there's been money put into themselves.
Yes.
But if you're like, look, 5 guys for 2 people costs about $40, $45 per time.
Right.
Do you eat out 4 days a month with your significant person, which the food's taking you in the opposite direction?
Right.
So you're eating something that's not helping you.
Right.
If you cannot eat out 4 times a month, don't go to happy hour 2 days or 2 weeks out of the month. Don't hit your happy
Exactly.
hours. Don't get dessert. Don't do this. So
Yes.
there's absolutely $200 isn't anything.
Nothing.
It's nothing anymore when you look at how people are willing to waste.
Yes.
But they find people's mindsets now is that they find value in $100 sushi lunch.
Yes.
That is fleeting. You're hungry an hour and a half, 2 hours later. And you're like,
Yes.
that experience is worth it because it's sushi. And my price anchor in my mind for sushi is $80 to $100 a meal. This was a good deal.
And you didn't have to prep it yourself, which
Well,
is huge.
That's right. And you don't right. You don't no labor.
Yes.
But when you price anchor something, and we were the same way when we got into the P90X thing back in the day.
I loved P90X.
It was $100. That program was $120, and I'm like, are they
we
out of their
almost
mind?
had a heart attack.
That's 4 months of Gold's Gym. I was like,
Exactly.
they are smoking crack
Yes.
because my price anchor was off.
Yep.
But once you start to recognize that there is no price tag to being stronger, there's no price tag to coming off your diabetes medications, there's no price tag to those things, all of a
Yep.
sudden now your place or your cost point changes, and you're like, oh my God, my costs on my meds got
Yes.
reduced. The gym, my coach is giving me shit about coming in here hammered every Monday
Yep.
or hungover after football. I just stopped drinking as much. And now I feel better on Mondays. I'm more productive on Mondays. My week isn't trashed right away. Okay, this is worth it because the cost point versus the benefit.
Exactly. And that's a perfect way to put it is it's like, you don't think about going from a 6-pack of beer to a 12-pack of beer that there's an increase in price. Well, what if we are certainly never going to get a bandwagon of live your perfect life and never have a beer and never do this. But if you just look at the purchases you make for, let's just say, football season, or let's use the, Nats going to the World Series, how many people are going out and buying all of their gear? The Nats franchise doesn't need another dollar. They really
you don't need another shirt.
And you don't need another shirt, but you get caught up in that moment. If you bought one less jersey, if you bought a 6-pack of beer instead of a 12, if you made 3 appetizers instead of 10, like you really would find the money to focus on your health and fitness, feel better, look better. Like it's this crazy cool cycle that if you legit took a step back, you would change your life in such a better way.
Small sacrifice to get the better physical return.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
And that was, so we'll circle back with Charlotte.
Yeah.
that is a young population. It's not a wealthy population because they're all kids. They're
Definitely
right out of
not.
college.
No, definitely
And
not.
those establishments down there were anywhere from 150 to 250
Yep.
and beyond, for general fitness services. But because
Exactly.
it's very bougie and you got these high-end options,
God, it's so cool.
it was awesome. So, well, the whole point of this conversation, and it's coming back to the physical because it's that time of year when people are de-emphasizing the physical piece and they're overemphasizing enjoy your food, enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You only live once kind of a thing.
Yep.
And everyone's flavor of fitness is going to be different. And
Yep.
where everybody goes to pursue that, the price tag is going to be different.
Yep.
But you're never going to stay at one place very long. 2 years, 3 years, maybe the big outliers that stay longer.
Yeah.
But people are always shifting to something that they either take the mindset, I need something harder so that I can master my body and my future, or they say, I want to scale back and I will go I'm willing to pay less to get less so I
Absolutely.
can keep checking the box.
Exactly.
With our business coaches and the people in our lives that inspire, motivate, and educate us, I've never had the opportunity where I stepped back and I was better for it.
Never.
Because the worst part about being surrounded by people that challenge and make you better is that you only get better by taking the next step up, not
Yeah.
a step back.
Yep. And I think the coolest thing that I think can be played right into your own personal fitness is one of the guys that was there this weekend said he welcomes the competition. And I think you can welcome it inside and outside of the gym. So you compete with yourself, of course, inside, compete with other people, get that drive, that motivation. If you're a business owner, welcome the competition because it's just going to make you better.
It's the industry.
Yeah.
It's the industry. It's not the trade craft. Everyone's on the same. Everyone's on the same mission.
Yes.
Everyone's on the same point.
Yep.
But to create an opportunity that's going to satisfy a need,
Yep.
and it's not all weight based. People, the ranges from people are all over the map, and
Of course not.
I'm learning every day what people want. I usually have the smallest grasp on it because I'm coming from a frame of reference of my own personal journey that doesn't match up with everybody else's.
Right.
Which it's cool. It's just different. And it's
Absolutely.
difficult to have a conversation where it's apples to apples.
Absolutely. And as always, be honest with yourself and look at your budget. And if the $10 fitness doesn't work for you and you need a 200 plus fitness, there is some way that you can get there if you really want it. Go for it.
There's always a way to get better.
Yes.
But if there's no translation, if you're not going to get better and it's not something that's going to improve your life, then it doesn't make sense.
No, then don't do it. Honestly.
Don't pay for sushi and go to, a hamburger joint.
Exactly. No
bed.
sushi for lunch and then
That's right.
Taco Bell for dinner.
Oh, that sounds like diarrhea.
Can you imagine?
That sounds bad. All right. Awesome. Short show for today, guys. Thank you again. Always lots of gratitude and thanks for sharing and liking.
Yeah.
We're encouraged by your words, and somebody walked up this last week that said, "Hey, I listened to your show," and I was embarrassed because it was a high end guy, and I was like,
That was
I'm
humbling.
kind of a douche on a lot of my our shows, so I hope he didn't hear when I was too douchey.
That was very humbling and very cool.
It's pretty awesome.
Yes.
So you never know who's listening.
No.
So thank you, wherever you're listening from.
Exactly.
Sharing is awesome, and so is rating.
Yes.
The ratings are always something I hate asking for, but go up and just tell us we suck, tell us we're great.
Exactly.
Something, so that we know we're going the right direction.
Yeah, give us something.
All right, brilliant. All right, guys, have a fantastic one.
All right.
Catch you on the next one.
Later.
Later.